It's been a while since I packed up my life in Grenada and moved back to the United States. In the hustle and bustle of work and reorganizing my life here, I keep finding my mind drifting back to the times I spent abroad. Now that I've had some time away, I know that I'll always look back on the period I had spent in Grenada fondly. I discovered much more than idyllic beaches and the peace and quiet often associated with island life. Even though some may consider my time in Grenada short-lived, I developed new friendships, explored many of the country's parishes, and learned about a culture's traditions and values. Because I lived in Grenada for over a year, I also gained valuable insights into what it's like to live abroad. I can now take these lessons and apply them to whatever I may go and do in the future. For those of you who are considering moving abroad, living in the Caribbean, or just looking for a change of pace, I would like to share my top 5 lessons that I learned from my residency in Grenada. Thanks for stopping by my channel. I would love to hear from you in the comment section below. If you have any questions about my time in this amazing country, please feel free to check out the Grenada playlist I have on my channel. Here you'll find more videos where I dive into popular sites and activities that may be of interest to you. Now let's get started. The first key lesson that I learned from my time in Grenada is to simply slow down. Returning to the US, I felt very rushed. We are always in a hurry to get places, but when we arrive at our destination, we tune out, stare at our screens, and miss out on special moments. If we could all just slow down and enjoy the present moment, we would find a lot of happiness there. In Grenada, it's not uncommon to take 3 or 4 hours at dinner with friends. The restaurant staff doesn't rush you, they're not trying to turn your table, but just create a welcoming atmosphere where you can spend a while. This was a bit of a shock to me when I first moved to Grenada because I was so accustomed to the go-go lifestyle. When you give your company more time and you can enjoy a sunset or the sound of the waves together, you will appreciate life more. This is an important lesson that I hope to remember because life can truly get hectic sometimes. Despite what you may have going on, it's always good to slow down, catch your breath, and be in the moment with those around you. The second key lesson I learned was to know your neighbors. Grenada is a small island community, and it's kind of true that everyone knows one another there. I was initially confused riding the bus and seeing the drivers honk at pedestrians along the route. To my surprise, they were not honking because they were in the way. They were honking to say hello to a person they knew. Knowing your neighbors is a great asset no matter the population size of where you are living. If you ever need anything or a helping hand, it's good to be able to call on someone who is reliable and can get things done for you. This dependency on your community or your neighbor can give you self-assurance as an individual and allows you to accomplish more than you could alone. Whether it's getting a ride to the airport when the buses and the cabs are no longer working, or getting supplies in the face of a possible hurricane, having someone to call on is a valuable asset that everyone needs. Since returning to the US, I have been making more of an effort to meet my neighbors and spend some time talking to them. I've felt rewarded in my efforts. Even though I haven't had to call on help specifically, just knowing that I could ask for help if I needed it has been a great relief. The third lesson is less truly is more. I had to downsize my apartment and what I had when I moved to Grenada. Initially, I assumed that I could find everything I needed on the island, but I was surprised to find much fewer stores and less of a consumerist culture in general. There were some things I thought I needed that I learned I could totally go without, and that has been its own valuable lesson. With less clutter, I have had the mental space to do more and to treasure the things that I had. One day I watched as a group of young children had a track race through the streets of Grand Anse without any shoes on. And this reminded me that we truly don't need much to be happy and content. I never considered myself wasteful or shopaholic, but now I am even more selective of what I buy and what I believe I need. Chances are these items of want will be more weight to carry along my journey, and there are things in your life that you can do without. Living in Grenada had forced me to contend with this reality, and I am glad for that. The fourth lesson that I learned was eat well. When I first arrived in Grenada, I was happy to see the prevalence of farmers selling fresh produce on the street. After talking with a few local people, I discovered that in addition to growing basic herbs and some veggies, most families also have their own chickens for eggs. Growing your own food or even knowing where your food comes from is such a rarity in the Western world. I had some meaningful interactions with Leo, a local food purveyor who graciously shared the health benefits of many tropical fruits I hadn't tried before, such as soursop. Developing the habit of directly interacting with farmers who grew my food has encouraged me to more directly support local farmers and, more importantly, to improve my diet by eating better. The fifth and final lesson I wanted to share is find gratitude. Over the weekends, I would often run from Grand Anse to the Carénage of St. George and back. On my journey, I always look forward to seeing a parked car with the bumper sticker that read, "Too blessed to be stressed." I felt that this slogan is characteristic of the attitude I found amongst the Grenadians I met. When you start from a place of gratitude, no inconvenience can derail your mood. There's always something to be grateful for, even under the most challenging circumstances. Similarly, I found that there are multiple paths to accomplishing a single goal. Many of the expats of Grenada are residing on the island temporarily to get basic medical or veterinary training, and they return back to the US to practice. They find their way to Grenada because these fields are extremely competitive, and for some people, this is the only track available to accomplishing their dream of becoming a vet or a doctor. With this point of view, some expats come to the country with a negative attitude of, "How did I end up here?" as if being in Grenada is a form of punishment. If you are contemplating moving to Grenada under these circumstances, I invite you to reflect on your attitudes and truly try to open yourself up to the place before quickly writing it off as a consequence or a stopover to your final goals. Grenada is a great country with a lot to offer. These are just the top 5 lessons that I learned from my time there, and I'm sure if you are on this journey to travel and live abroad, you will find more lessons and experiences that speak directly to you. I have truly enjoyed making videos about Grenada and hope that you have learned something watching this series with me. I would greatly appreciate it if you could like this video and subscribe to my channel. It supports my work as a creator on YouTube. Thanks again for joining me.